Hello, I'm Molly Mcowan, and I'm an actress and model.
And Molly, which came first for you? Was it acting or modeling?
Well, it was actually voiceover work that came first. I did that for a couple years, and then I got into modeling and then acting.
Holy cow. Okay, I have to unpack the voiceover part of it because that's always been like, I don't know. I love booking those jobs. It's a lot of fun. Did you grow up, mimicking others or wanting to do some sort of vocal work or
I just always had kind of a unique sounding voice, and I sounded quite young for a long time. I've literally only just started maturing a little bit, I think, but it still sounds quite young. And so just a lot of people suggested it to me, and I thought, oh, that's quite a good idea. I love cartoons as well, so I was really excited to get into that.
ooh, okay, what's your favorite cartoon? I gotta ask.
That's a tough one. At the
I know.
moment, probably like I like them all, but like at the moment, maybe Rick and Morty.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good. Have you had a chance to self-submit for any of those?
What the cartoons?
Just for yeah, Rick and Morty. Any auditions popping your way?
No, no, I
Yeah.
would love that. That would be the dream.
Well,
Anything like
hopefully
that,
we can.
South Park, Rick and Morty, Family Guy, any of those
Yeah.
would be awesome. Yeah,
Let's manifest it right now. Let's
yeah.
make it
Keep
happen.
talking about
Yeah. That's so cool. And you said
it.
you're just now sort of maturing. Did you get a lot of flack for sounding more youthful?
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have
Ooh.
a lot of people. It'd be the first thing that they said. Oh, you've got a really unique sounding voice. I'm like, mm-hmm.
Like, I'm about to go to university. It's I'm a grown adult. It's one of those things. I have I mean it's getting there, but I have a baby face and I've had it for years. I'm into my 30s now, and it's still one of those, check your ID for
Yeah.
alcohol, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I think God, working for Rick and Morty would be a dream, but I did catch on your resume, when I initially reached out that you worked as a mocap performer on Bully, the video game?
I just did voiceover work
Okay,
for that
okay.
and like a tiny bit, but yeah, that was I think that was one of my first ever jobs.
Really?
Like,
Okay, so that's something that is of, like, extreme interest, at least on this podcast, is going into motion capture or video game voiceover work. So, if you can recall what that first experience was like, because your first, sort of big job is the one that sticks with you for the rest of your career, right? So, walk me through
yeah,
how that occurred.
I was actually I think I was at school or college, one of the two, and I had the call. Can you? It was really last minute. Can you get to? It was yeah. Can you get to London and record this voice thing? They didn't really tell me much at all about it. Can you get there by 5 o'clock? I lived in Gloucestershire, so it's about 3 hours to get to London.
Oh,
And me and my friend just jumped on a bus and got to London as fast as we could. They sent me through a little script on the way that I had to kind of get to familiarize myself with. And then me and my friend James turned up at the fanciest studio we'd ever seen. I'm pretty sure it was something to do, it was in Soho, and something to do with an MTV studio. And it was really fancy. And we were going up in this really fancy lift, like, oh my God, I can't believe we're here. And then after that, I was like, I'm quitting college. That's it. I've made it. And then obviously no voice work came through for a while. And I was like, oh, this is how this goes.
it's the initial just depressive era of, "No, no, I made it,"
Oh,
and then the
wait.
phone doesn't ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the next one, like, when's it gonna come?
How long did it take for you to get another job after that? Because I think that's the longest wait is after that first job to hear
I had
anything else.
a few other jobs after that, but I'm not very good with the computer side of things, and no one else has sorted out my IMDb for me. So it's that there's a few things that aren't on there. But I did like a few. I did a corn advert for like corn mints. That was
Okay.
one that wasn't long after that. It was a Mo Farah advert, and I was the voice of a little girl saying "Not so fast." And then there was a couple other ones. There was one for a Disney show called Sophia and Her Friends.
Hmm.
It was like I think it was a show on Disney Channel. I did some kind of song for that. I've never even heard that, so I'm not sure what happened with that, but that was quite a fun one. And again, and it was a really fancy studio in Chiswick, and everything was super Disney-fied. Like the doors had Mickey Mouse on them. There was massive posters of all the Disney stuff, and
Oh
that
my
was quite
god.
exciting. I think I was like 16. I was like, whoa.
That's so cool. And it's fun to get that, I don't know, that variety in there, you're not just doing one thing when you're starting. So I don't know, I'm curious, having nailed those jobs and then, we'll get into what you've been doing recently, but kind of where you were looking to go, into your adult years, if you had not necessarily a set plan, but was there a goal you had in mind or like a career aspiration?
I always wanted to do movies, be an actress. I've loved films my whole life. I like even as a little kid, I used to just sit on a beanbag in front of the TV watching really old films with my nan and like all sorts of movies. So that was always the main dream. But even now, it's a hard industry. So any kind of job that comes my way, I'm pretty happy to take. And it's been like that the whole time. I just kind of fell into modeling, and then I was just happy to have modeling jobs coming through. And then I fell into some special action work. And again, I was just super happy to be doing that and to be on set. And that led into some stunt work. And then, yeah, just keep hoping for opportunities, really.
Yeah, that's all you can do, and you have a wide variety of skills that you've sort of accrued in your career as well, and the modeling part, I'm not a model. I've modeled before for industrial work, but I am in no way, shape, or form a model. So how did that come to be for you, and what was your comfortability with that like? I mean, it's a whole other side of performance being a model. So like how did that come into your life after, the VO stuff really started to go?
It was actually the same friend that came with me on my first voiceover job. He started a clothing company and needed a model, and he was like, "Molly, you'd be good to model." So I was like, "Oh, I'll give it a go." So I did a few photo shoots with him, and it obviously was a lot more comfortable with him shooting because he was my friend. So it was like a nice way to like get used to posing in front of a camera. And then I did a few like college shoots for some other photographer friends that I knew, and I can't remember how I got my first agent, but I got an agent in London for modeling and started doing some professional work then. And I remember being really like nervous on the first few. I used to get told I had like really stiff hands. My hands were just like clenched in like every picture. And then that went away after like not very long, a couple shoots, and
Yeah.
you just get more comfortable, and yeah, just kind of went on from there.
Was there a shoot that was particularly hard to accomplish, especially, going back to stiff hands and really, essentially contorting your body for a photo so everything looks aligned? Was there one that comes to mind?
Yeah, there was. There was a really hard shoot. It was a really random shoot. I was in a graveyard in the middle of London. There was loads of people walking around, and I was in like this real gothic clothing and like a bonnet. It kind of reminded me of David Bowie when he wears that weird kind of
Yeah.
pilot-y bonnet helmet thing. So I had like one of those on, and this like, yeah, like horrible clothes. And then like real like pointy black shoes. And they wanted me to like lean forward, like with my head forward, and march in the graveyard with like big steps. And there's all these like people on their way to work, and there was people in the church at some kind of service. So that was, that was a hard one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you couldn't no, I couldn't be caught dead doing anything like that. I
Yeah.
think, I've modeled cycling shorts before, and I had no idea how padded they were and how uncomfortable this is. Like, "Are you comfy?" "I'm not, but let's just start snapping
Yeah.
photos because
Just
it's"
get the picture, please.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like, I mean, outside of what we do and finding those gigs that, usually most of us have to work some sort of day job. So I'm curious as to, what sort of gigs or day jobs you've had to take on to, pay the bills while you're looking for other work.
I've actually been at work today. I work. It's kind of a casual job. It's on a high ropes course. I rescue people on it. It's a 20 meters high, and yeah, I work as a rescuer on that, which is actually really good fun. So I've been there today. That's probably the most fun part-time job that I've had in between. I've also done a bit of waitressing, the classic waitress
Yeah.
actress, and some the cinema. That wasn't too bad.
Holy cow. Okay, that's not the side job I would have ever imagined. That is insane. How long have you been doing that?
It's actually just been a year this month.
Wow. Okay. I have a very great fear of heights, so I don't know how you you manage that. That's insane. And you, I mean,
Yeah, it's good
serving
fun.
in, yeah, that beats any retail or service job, as far as just getting that. Are you somewhat of an adrenaline junkie?
Yeah, I definitely am. Just anything at height, I'm really like comfortable, and I just like being up high. So like I
Oh,
climb a lot as well, so it goes hand in hand a bit. It's nice to keep working with ropes and carabiners and things. I like really enjoy that sort of thing.
that's so cool. So was that an in into going into stunts as well, since you knew, knots and you were good with heights and you could do all that stuff? Was that a pretty easy adjustment?
Yeah, yeah, that's I kind of thought it was like combining my two like loves, I love being like active and yeah, working at height and things like that, climbing and surfing. And then I love acting and being on set, so I was thinking combine the two, and yeah, like and hoping that takes off as well.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, that's a fun. I've done stunts a couple of times and it was a blast, but how did you get started in the stunt portion? I'm like jumping into different areas because you've done so much as far as a variety goes. So I have to know, like, how did this happen?
Yeah,
But
I'm a
as
bit all
far
over
as,
the place. So
right, you're like, I mean, it will prove longevity in your career, not focusing on just one thing.
I hope
But
so. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, stunts especially. You, at least as long as your IMDb is correct, you did stunt work in the Marvels recent. That was the most recent project, and then
Yeah.
Gareth Edwards' Havoc coming up here soon as well. So were
Yeah, I'm
those?
looking forward to that, yeah. Do you know, I
Yeah.
was the biggest nerd on the Marvels because the scene was like Brie Larson was there, and we were doing the scene over and over again, and I was just loving life. And then she came out and she was like, "Come on, guys, let's like let's do this one or something." And she like put her hand in the air, and I was like the only person that was like, "Yeah, woo!" And I was like, "Oh, awkward." But I was really happy to be there. I'm a massive Marvel fan, so.
Really, since I mean, were you comics Marvel fan, movie Marvel fan? There's all sorts of different ones, but I mean, are you a Marvel cinematic? Just
I like the movies just because I'm like a bit all over the place to read. I never really read stuff, but I saying that after I watch the films, I do read a lot of like, what does this mean? What does this mean? And like
yeah.
everything on the internet that kind of explains it, which is a lot from the comics as well. So I kind of have a bit of like back knowledge to the films.
That's okay. I feel very seen. As I mean, comics are great, but they're very expensive, and there's just too many of them.
Yeah.
It's a lot to keep up with. So, How long were you working on the Marvels? Especially, I mean that experience was probably worth however long you were there. But
Yeah, it wasn't very long. I think it
yeah,
was like 2 or 3 weeks we were there. But yeah, it was like maybe yeah, something like that, 2 or 3 weeks. But that was really good fun. But then I
yeah.
watched the film and I can't actually see myself in it, but it was just still
Oh
good fun.
no. But you have that personal memory of high fiving Brie Larson. I think
Yeah,
that's well worth it.
I think so, yeah.
Well, especially
I
when no
think
one
just
else did it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. She must have seen me.
You. That is so cool. With the type of career that you're building and how many hats you're wearing, I'm curious what, and I guess not what you would like to do, but where you would like to be in, let's say, the next 5 years, because a lot of things have changed since COVID, since at least on the state side, the strikes occurred, and that's slowing production everywhere. But what what would you like to do in the next, 5 years? Where do you want to be in your career?
It's a hard question because I change my mind daily. But I would like to just secure more acting roles. Really, that's kind of my main focus at the moment.
Yeah.
Is just whatever it is. Just the more the merrier.
Are you taking, I know it's a big thing right now. Are you taking any acting courses or trying to find ways of being flexible with groups in between jobs?
I'm not right now, actually. I've been talking to a friend of mine. He recently did a couple-week course at Rautha, and he said it was amazing. So I'm pretty interested in looking into that. I think that would be a good step forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything to, keep those muscles loose, but you have voiceover, you have acting, you have modeling, you have stunts. You have a lot actually. I think you're in the top percent of, just who they're looking for as far as what they can balance. And of course I do need to tap into Dune Part Two, and,
Yeah,
that whole process because that production itself is massive, and they were looking globally for a lot of things. So I know everyone listening to this and watching this right now, they're just wondering, okay, what was the audition process like for Dune Part Two, and of course the filming and the makeup process as well.
it was pretty mad actually. I had no idea what it was. I had a self tape come through, and it was nothing related to the film whatsoever. And yeah, no idea what it was. I was in a massive rush. I think I was going surfing, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta do the self tape before I go." God's sake! So I kind of set it up real quickly, did the did the tape, and then just didn't think anything else of it. I didn't hear anything else for ages, and then a couple of months went by, and my agent rang and was said, "Oh, you've got a part in June too. You got filming in Budapest. Is your passport all okay? You're flying out in like." I think that was you're flying out in like 3 weeks or something. And I was like, oh my God, is this for real? That's crazy. So it was super, super exciting.
Yeah, in Budapest of all places as well.
I know, yeah. And it was the fanciest hotel I've ever stayed in, and yeah, and I'd never been to Budapest, so it was really really cool.
Ooh, did you get I'm not sure how long you were filming and doing principal photography, but did you get a chance to go out and explore a little bit, or were you kind of locked down?
No, yeah, I did. Me and the other two girls that were Harpies, we went out for food most nights, and went to there's like two sizes like Buddha and Pesh, and Buddha's a little bit like posher, and so we went there a few times for food, and then Pesh is a bit more hippie, which was really cool as well. So we were like going between the two, and we checked out a few of the spas that they had there, and the like natural springs, and they were amazing. That was really cool. And I took my skateboard, so I was kind of skating around Budapest, and so I saw quite a lot of it. To be fair, and went to a water park as well, which was really cool. And so we had a lot of fun in Budapest.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm glad they didn't have you, just stay in the hotel, don't go anywhere. We're gonna call on you at any point in time. No, you had a chance to have an adventure and take
Yeah,
full
yeah,
advantage of it.
yeah, it was a real good time.
What
We had drivers. We kind of took full advantage.
Yeah. How long were you filming? Because I know you were, in a cluster of scenes, but were you there for a certain amount of time and they just called you whenever, or do they just have you there for a
It
week?
was quite quick. We were there for I think it was 10 days, and we filmed 2 days. So we had a day where we went in for fittings and things, and then 2 days filming, and then the rest of the time just chilling and enjoying Budapest.
Well, I mean, speaking of the fitting portion, your characters are frightening to say the least, but what was the makeup process like? Because I saw it in an
um,
IMAX theater and all three of your faces just popped out. Oh my god, that's insanely good.
it was amazing. Like how they got rid of all my hair, I just don't know. They said 60 centimeters of hair went into a bald cap, which is insane. But
Whoa.
it was long process. I think I was in hair and makeup for 5 hours.
Holy cow. Okay. Yeah, that's that's a little intense. When it comes to, I mean, that is a pretty heavy makeup day, but how did you keep each other sane during that?
It was about 4 o'clock in the morning when we started, so
Okay.
we were pretty silent for a bit, just trying not to fall asleep, just like head bobbing. Doesn't do anything to me right now. And
Yeah, I have realized like the music in the makeup trailer doesn't really kick in until probably about 6 o'clock.
yeah. Yeah, and then it starts perking up a little bit. They've had some coffees and
Yeah.
start talking a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. For them, that's a, and you're probably up at, I don't know, 3 or so, just trying to shake off the night before. That's cool. I'm glad you had a great experience on that as well, because with a production that big, you never know if you're sequestered to a hotel or if you're able to have a vacation and get paid for it.
Yeah,
Um,
honestly, it was really, really cool, and everyone was super nice. Like, it was a really, really good experience all around.
did you get a chance to go see it opening weekend?
I think I did, but I actually went to a tiny little cinema that is quite local to me. I live in the country in Gloucestershire, so it's a really small place. And I went with my family and just to a really like local theatre and watched it there, which was really cute. But I'm desperate to go watch it again in like a big IMAX cinema now.
Oh, you should. The soundtrack alone just shakes your seat. It could be a bit much at times, just a
Yeah,
little like overstimulated, but yeah, that's I like that. I think it's important to, take your family, go in a separate theater and just enjoy it without any
yeah.
hullabaloo, really. Um, that's so cool. And now, you just finished up on Havoc. So stunt wise, I don't see any broken bones. You seem to be, in proper
Yeah,
form.
surviving. I went snowboarding recently as well, and that's kind of a new thing, which was really I was really worried about hurting myself for that.
Really?
But I survived that. My tailbone's fine, my bum's fine, so I think I'm winning.
Did you find a fair amount of, spills when you were trying that out? Or I mean, you skateboard, so I feel like you should be a little more accustomed
That's
to
what
that
I thought.
balance.
Yeah, and I surf as well, so I was like, I've got this. Everyone tried to convince me to ski because apparently that's a bit easier to learn. Sorry if there's any skiers listening, I don't know. But I chose snowboarding, and it was really, really hard. For the first 5 days, I was just falling, and yeah, it was rubbish. And I also lost my snowboard down the mountain, which apparently is a really big no-no. I didn't realize it would just slide off like that. So I took it off and was walking over to my friends in a bit of a huff because I couldn't get down the mountain. And I just chucked the snowboard in front of me and it took off down the mountain. And my friend were like zipped after it. Luckily, he's quite fast, but he was like going down the mountain after my snowboard. And he said it was hitting jumps and spinning in the air and then like landing back down. And eventually he caught it about a mile down the mountain. So I had to run and slide on my bum this whole way till I could like caught back up with it. So that was fun.
Yeah, it's a what, 20-pound knife just going through the
Yeah, yeah. I had a lot of people that were really mad.
But you got it back and no one was hurt.
Yeah, so everybody survived, so it was okay. And lesson learned, I won't do that again.
It's true. And I'm surprised. I don't know if this is, I don't know, maybe somebody came up with it in the 70s or the 80s. I'm surprised they're similar to surfing. There's not an elastic band that you can put around your boot that hooks onto the snowboard.
Yeah, a lady did suggest that to me. She said, "Did you not know you could get a leash?" I was like, "No, it's my first day. I'm sorry."
It's okay. The worst will happen on the first day, and you'll be fine from then on. I mean, you're
Yeah.
incredibly active. You're skateboarding, surfing, now you're snowboarding, you climb. Is
Yeah.
there anything you haven't done yet, or maybe you want to do and haven't had a chance to do it yet?
There's quite a few things. I'd really like to give flyboarding a go, but that's really, really expensive. But I would. It looks amazing. And I've never done a bungee jump. I'm desperate to do a bungee jump. I used to work at a place that had the biggest bungee in the UK, and they kept promising us goes, and I never actually got a go. So I'm a bit bitter over that.
Can you go
But
back?
yeah, they're closed now, so
Oh no.
typical.
Yeah. Yeah, bungee jumping. I don't know if I could do that. Maybe I know skydiving is on my list. I assume you've probably gone skydiving before.
I actually haven't. That's another one that's on my list. I really want to
Really?
do that.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna do all these crazy things with just a smile on your face, aren't you?
Yeah, hopefully. Like,
Well, it's I don't know. It's so cool. I love talking to like actors who have more of a character actor journey where you're fulfilling all these different things and just experiencing all these new roles, these new positions. And with everything you've done, especially in recent years, I wanted to see if there was a piece of advice that you've held on to that's sort of carried you through those times when, things are slow, you're not getting calls from your representatives, and maybe you didn't get that job that you were really thinking you were right for. Is there anything you've held on to that you could probably pass along to our listeners?
it's probably a bit cliche, but just you have got to stay positive because as soon as you start thinking really negatively about it, everything seems negative and everything's a lot worse. And then if you just stay positive about things, you can kind of make things kind of come to you,
Yeah.
and just persevere as well because you might have just caught someone on the wrong day, and so like just keep trying, keep persevering, keep bugging people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You say it's cliche, but it's pertinent. We need that now more than ever. And it's a career about longevity, right? You're not gonna, I don't know, make it in 1 or 2 years. Sometimes it takes a very long time, or you just slowly build up that resume. So that, I
Yeah.
love that piece of advice. Uh and with I'm really excited for this one. With you being so active and so kinetic, I usually ask if there's a party story you could share of your time, working on set or something like that. But I wanted to see if there was a party story you have of just, your physical hobbies. If maybe there was a skateboarding session you had that didn't go quite well, or, just something that really stands out in your life story that you could easily tell friends at a party.
Like a party story. There's so many. I don't know. I don't know where to start. I was um I was telling a few people recently about a place that's close to me. It's called Simonjat, and it's a really cool place. It's got like climbing, canoeing, caving, and it's all like in this raw like picturesque place. It's actually where they filmed Sex Education. If you've watched that show,
Oh shoot. Okay, yeah, absolutely.
so it's a real cool place. But there's loads of caves there, and there's one cave called the Party Cave or the Rave Cave, and you kind of like crawl into it, and then it opens up into this big, massive cave with like little off rooms, and people have graffitied on the walls in there, so it looks really cool. So there's been like a lot of cool parties in there. But we had like a silly one where we turned all our lights off and then had a guide that was it, and we had to kind of get past into the den. So it was that was quite a fun. That was a real fun game in a cave.
You are the equivalent of like Lara Croft incarnate. That is so cool. I gotta write that down because I'm planning on taking a trip to the UK hopefully next year, and I want to visit a vast amount of places, not just stay in London and that area.
Yeah,
That's so
just
cool.
yeah. Go to Bristol and then come to the
Bristol.
Forest of Dean.
Oh heck yes.
Bristol's like a little London, and it's more interesting, I think.
Oh, see, I like that. Yeah, because I know the usual big cities are good for half a day, and then I've kind of seen everything I need to see.
Yeah, do a day in London, and then
Yeah.
yeah, come around here. It's cooler.
Oh, that's so awesome. Okay. And as we're finishing up here, because I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I did want to see if there's anything you want to give a shout out to with this episode. So it could be, something you're looking forward to as far as a project, or maybe something you really, you know, are just excited about, or maybe a charity, organization, a cause you really believe in. If there's anything that comes to mind that you would want to give a shout out to.
Oof.
I know
I
it's a
am
heavy
not.
question.
Um, I'm looking forward to. Well, I've just joined a like stunt special action agency called Take Three Action Agency. So I'm really hoping things go well with them, and I'm looking forward to getting on some more stunt work and possibly stunt rigging and things like that. So that's something I'm like looking forward to. I feel bad not mentioning a charity now, but I'm not too sure.
It's okay. It's
There's lots of charities I like, and I don't want to pick just one because
Oh yeah. Well, hey, I mean, this isn't going to go up till probably May. So if anything comes to mind that, you're like, oh yes, it was that one, just shoot me an email and then I'll include it in there. No pressure whatsoever. I always feel bad because I mentioned the charity second and then I don't want it to be a setup for failure.
Yeah.
Like, just giving examples. Um, okay, perfect. Yeah, that works. I actually I have a few friends who I think are still at Take Three, but I need to ask them before I bring them up on this episode because I don't want it to be,
Yeah, like, no, we never
ill-informed.
made.
um, the last thing I have is just something so inherently goofy, but I do want to say first and foremost, like, thank you for sitting down and sharing your story with me and having a quick chat. It was just, I don't know, it seemed really it just seemed like a lot of fun to reach out to you and hear your story, knowing the one movie I've seen you in. Like, oh, that's the whole premise of the show is I just want to sit down with other actors who are on the same journey as myself and see what they're looking to do, what they want to accomplish, what have they accomplished, and I don't know. It's been a joy chatting with you, and
Yeah, it's really cool to do this sort of thing. It's like, thank you for having me.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. You may not thank me after this last thing because it is just so out of this world, but we have what I like to call an awkward goodbye. So
Okay.
essentially, I'll give you a silent 3, 2, 1 countdown. When I point at the screen, give us your best verbal and visual awkward goodbye, and I'll stop the recording from there. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
Okay. All right. Well, here we go. In 3,
Bye bye.